da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da 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 da.
Hello guys, it's LaFinchy, All Things History. The Berlin Conference of 1884 was an important event in history that impacted and still impacts the lives of billions of people to this day. The major powers of Europe, including the United Kingdom, France, and Germany, and others, carved up Africa and absorbed them into their colonial possessions. This changed the continent of Africa dramatically, and its impacts still live on today. But there was one region of Africa that was quite unique during this period, one that was born over a dispute and wasn't under a country as we know it. Today, we will be talking about the Congo Free State and what it was like. So, you might be pondering, what even is the Congo Free State? Well, the Congo Free State was sort of a Belgian colony, except it wasn't exactly a colony in its own right, because it wasn't ruled by the Belgian government, but was personal property of the King of Belgium, Leopold II. Leopold II ruled the Congo from 1885 to 1908. It was especially notorious for its abysmal mistreatment of the Congolese people to extract rubber and other resources. This, along with other factors, led to the Congo being handed over to the Belgian government in 1908. Prior to the Berlin Conference, the Congo was split between different kingdoms and tribes, in which one of the most notable of which was the Kingdom of Congo. But in 1884, the Europeans met in Berlin to negotiate how to split Africa. In the conference, a few countries claimed the Congo as a colony. Why? Because it was rich in resources. It had gold, rubber, diamonds, oil, copper. Who wouldn't want it? But one of the strongest claims was France's claim. France wanted to create a colony stretching from the Atlantic to the Red Sea, but due to the Vologda incident with Britain, the French lost their claims on the Sudan, and the French were competing with the German Empire for Congo. Leopold II saw this and had an idea. At the Berlin Conference, he was like, "Hey, you can just give the Congo to me." So Otto von Bismarck was like, "Good idea, then it's settled. The Congo will go to Belgium." Not to Belgium, to me. Right. That's what we were talking about. The Congo goes to Belgium. I said, give it to me. Literally. Oh. And so the Congo Free State was born, its capital being in Boma. But from 1885 to 1886, the capital was Vivi. By 1891, Leopold had asserted his control in the Katanga region. In this colony, Leopold would commit a variety of atrocities that I will elaborate on later in the video in his pursuit on resources. They were so abysmal that even the European powers of Africa were speaking out against it. Eventually, in 1908, Leopold II was forced to relinquish all control of the state and was given to the Belgian government, which remained under its administration until its independence. As I mentioned, the Congo Free State was most known for its abysmal mistreatment of the Congolese people, which would lead to its ultimate downfall. Leopold thought that the Congo would have great economic opportunities and give him more power, as he had barely any power back in Belgium, and he would have to answer to no one in Congo. After obtaining the Congo, Leopold was determined to make the colony as commercially profitable as possible, which he did by casually ignoring the fact that slavery was banned to extract resources like rubber and ivory. The Berlin Conference had no real way to enforce their guidelines, so he got away with it. The Congolese worked hard, having to meet high quotas in horrible conditions. The Congolese would have to slash the vines and lather their bodies with the rubber before scraping it off into their baskets. If these set quotas were not met, horrific consequences were to follow, including lashes, chopping off their hands, or even death. Those who refused to do the manual labor would be served with the same consequences. Leopold II established his own army to enforce these rules, called the Force Publique. To show how many people they killed, they had to sever their hands of the people they've killed and show their officers, 1 hand per bullet used. Although this was profitable in the short term, giving Leopold expansive personal wealth due to resources, the colony still needed more investments to be profitable. In 1889 and 1895, Leopold II borrowed money from the Belgian government for the colony. In exchange, Belgium would be allowed to annex the Congo in 1901. However, when the year arrived, Belgium decided not to take the action, allowing Leopold II to further his exploitation. In 1890, African-American Baptist minister George Washington Williams visited the Congo and was horrified by the mistreatment of the Congolese. This caused him to write an open letter directly to Leopold II condemning his actions. He wrote that the actions were done in the king's name, and while Leopold II hadn't got a single step in the Congo, he would be just as guilty. Unfortunately, George Washington Williams died before he could make it back to America, and Leopold ignored the letter. This would be the beginning of the Congo Free State's unraveling. As more letters and accounts were written, the atrocities of the Congo became more clear to the public. International outrage began in 1904 due to these exposures, which led to an international protest movement. Finally, in the November of 1908, after constant international pressure, Leopold II was forced to relinquish all control of the Congo Free State to the Belgian government. 10 million people were killed during the Congo Free State's existence, around half of the nation's entire population. So what can we take out of all of this? Leopold II created this entire state to monetize the resources which would flow to his personal riches. He prioritized the profit of the colony above anything else, which included the welfare of the Congolese, which ultimately caused its demise. So, if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and share this video with all of your friends. Also, click the notification bells so you don't miss a single video I upload. This is LaFinchy, All Things History, signing out. Bye! Fun fact, before 1966, the capital of the Democratic Republic of the Congo, Kinshasa, was once called Leopoldville.